Hello students, welcome to my channel Learning History Made Easy. In today's video, we will be discussing about the Post Mauryan Period Central Asian contact. Before going into the video, if anyone is seeing the channel for the first time or if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and share it with your friends, and also click the bell button to receive notifications whenever I upload new videos. So without wasting time, let us get into today's video. So as I have told, today's video is about the post-Mauryan period, that is about the Central Asian contact. Central Asian contact. The most important political development in the post-Mauryan period. So today we are going to discuss about the post-Mauryan period. One of the most important political developments during this period was the onslaught of foreigners from the northwest, and one of the first among them were the Bactrian Greeks. Bactrian Greeks were one of the first among the foreigners from the northwest. So Indo-Greeks, as they are called, Indo-Greeks. The first to invade India were Greeks or Bactrian Greeks, as we have told, and they were called as Indo-Greeks in the early 2nd century. And the best remembered of the Indo-Greek kings, among the Indo-Greek kings, if we see, the best remembered among them was Menander. He attained fame as Milinda. He was famous as Milinda, and in the Buddhist text Milindapanho, okay, Milindapanho. Okay, he was very famous as Milinda in the Buddhist text Milindapanho, or the Question of Milinda. This book consisted of the Question of Milinda. Okay, and this was a discussion in Buddhism. It was supposedly conducted by Menander and the Buddhist philosopher Nagasena. So it was like a question session by Menander, that is Milinda, and the Buddhist philosopher Nagasena. And this conversation between them resulted in the conversion of Menander into Buddhism. So later Menander was converted into Buddhism after this session. So one of the most important or most remembered among the Indo-Greek kings was Menander. He was very famous as Milinda in the Buddhist text Milindapanho, and it was known as the Question of Milinda. It was a discussion conducted by Menander and the Buddhist philosopher Nagasena, which later resulted in the conversion of Menander into Buddhism. So that was one of the important king of the Bactrian Greeks. Now, if you see Menander stabilized the Indo-Greek power. Indo-Greek power was stabilized by Menander. He stabilized the Indo-Greek power, and he also extended its frontiers in India. He had his capital at Sakala in Punjab. He had his capital. And the Indo-Greeks were the first to issue coins which can be definitely attributed to the king. So Indo-Greeks were one of the first to issue coins. So coins were issued by them, and these coins were attributed to the kings. They were first to issue gold coins in India. Gold coins in India were issued first by the Indo-Greeks, and these increased in number under the Kushanas. Later, these gold coins increased in number under the Kushanas. So Menander, he stabilized the Indo-Greek power and also extended its frontier. His capital was Sakala in Punjab, and they were the first to issue coins which can be attributed to the kings, and they were first to issue gold coins in India, and these increased in number under the Kushanas. So that also was a thing done by the Indo-Greeks in India. And they also introduced the practice of military governorship for maintaining the power of new rulers over the conquered people. So this military governorship was done to maintain the power of new rulers over conquered people So this was also introduced by the Greeks, that is military governorship to maintain the power of new rulers over the conquered people. The Greek also, another contribution given by the Greeks were, the Greeks introduced the features of Hellenistic art. They introduced the features of Hellenistic art in the northwestern frontier of India. In the northwestern frontier of India, they introduced the features of Hellenistic art. If you see the Gandhara art, if you see, was largely Hellenistic in the beginning. It was basically, in the beginning, it was Hellenistic, but as time passed, the style became more and more Indian. Later, the style became more and more Indian style. Okay, so we can say that it was a mix of Indo-Greek kind of art. So Gandhara art was largely Hellenistic in the beginning, but as time passed, the style became more and more Indian, and it became less Greek style of art. So that was about Gandhara style of art, which was a contribution of the Greeks. Now the Greeks also contributed to the development of Indian theatre. Okay, the Indian theatre also developed because of the contributions from the Greek. This was by the use of curtains. The use of curtains, which was called as yavanika. So the Indian Greeks contributed to the development of Indian theatre by the use of curtains known as yavanika. Other than that, Indian astrology came to be influenced by the Greek ideas, and from the Greek term, if you see the Greek term horoscope, was derived from the term horasastra. It was derived from the term horasastra used in astrology in Sanskrit. Okay, this was used for astrology in Sanskrit. So the Indian astrology came to be influenced by Greek ideas, and the Greek term horoscope was derived from the term horasastra, which was used in astrology in Sanskrit. So all these were the influences of Indo-Greek or the Greek Bactrian people coming to India. So that was about Indo-Greeks. Next, let us know about the Shakas. The decline of the Greek kingdom in the northwest coincided with an attack on Bactria itself by nomadic tribe from Central Asia. So now here there was a decline of Greek kingdom in northwest. This coincided with an attack on Bactria. That time there was an attack on Bactria by nomadic tribes from Central Asia. Nomadic tribes from Central Asia. Okay, so when there was decline of Greek in northwest, there was an attack on Bactria by the nomadic tribes of Central Asia. So if you see the nomadic tribes, these tribes included the Scythians, who was primarily responsible for destroying the Bactrian power. That was the tribe. These Scythians, they were known in the Indian sources as Shakas. They were known as Shakas. They moved from Bactria and invaded Iran and then Greek kingdoms in India. So they invaded Greek kingdoms in India. Okay, the Shakas or the Scythians, they invaded the Greek kingdoms in India. So the decline of Greek in northwest coincided with an attack on Bactria by nomadic tribe from Central Asia, and the Scythians or these tribes included the Scythians, who was primarily responsible for destroying the Bactrian power, and they were known in Indian sources as Shakas, and they moved from Bactria and they invaded Iran and the Greek kingdoms in India. By the middle of 1st century BC, only a few Greek chiefs in India ruled in India. So by the middle of, if you see, almost the 1st century BC, what happened was there was only few Greek chiefs who ruled in India. There was only a few Greek chiefs who ruled in India, and the Shaka power extended in the country as far as Mathura. So the power of Shakas, it extended as far as Mathura. So this is how Greeks declined, and slowly the Shaka power increased and it extended as far interior into the country as Mathura. So now just let us go through the points which we have studied till now. Post Mauryan period, Central Asian contact. The most important political developments of the post Mauryan period was the onslaught of foreigners from the northwest. The first among them were the Bactrian Greeks. Indo-Greeks. The first to invade India were the Greeks or Bactrian Greeks, who were called Indo-Greeks in the early 2nd century BC. The best remembered of the Indo-Greek kings was Menander. He attained fame as Milinda in the Buddhist text Milindapanho, or the question of Milinda, a discussion in Buddhism supposedly conducted by Menander and the Buddhist philosopher-Nagasena, resulting in Menander's conversion to Buddhism. Menander stabilized Indo-Greek power in addition to extending its frontiers in India. He had his capital at Sakala in Punjab. The Indo-Greeks were the first to issue coins which can be definitely attributed to the kings. They were the first to issue gold coins in India, and these increased in number under the Kushanas. The Greeks also introduced the practice of military governorship for maintaining the power of the new rulers over the conquered people. The Greek rule introduced features of Hellenistic art in the northwest frontier of India. The Gandhara art was largely Hellenistic in the beginning, but as time passed, the style became more and more Indian and less Greek. The Greeks contributed to the development of the Indian theatre by the use of curtains known as yavanika. Indian astrology came to be influenced by Greek ideas, and from the Greek term horoscope was derived from the term horasastra used for astrology in Sanskrit. The Shakas. The decline of the Greek kingdom in northwest coincided with an attack on Bactria itself by a nomadic tribe from Central Asia. These tribes included the Scythians, who were primarily responsible for destroying Bactrian power. The Scythians, known in the Indian sources as Shakas, moved from Bactria and invaded Iran and then the Greek kingdom in India. By the middle of 1st century BC, only a few Greek chiefs ruled in India, and the Shaka power extended as far interior into the country as Mathura. So now let us continue with the rule of Shakas. There were 5 branches of the Shakas. Okay, if you consider the Shakas, there were 5 branches. 5 branches of the Shakas with their seats of power in different parts of India and Afghanistan. These 5 branches had their seats of power in different places in India and Afghanistan. India and Afghanistan. One branch, if you see, one branch was settled in Afghanistan. The second branch was settled in Punjab. The second branch was settled in Punjab with Taxila as its capital. The second branch capital was Taxila. The third branch was settled in Mathura. We knew that it extended up till Mathura, and where it ruled for about 2 centuries. They ruled for about 2 centuries in Mathura. And the fourth branch established its hold over Western India. The fourth branch had its hold over Western India, where they continued their rule until 4th century AD. And the fifth branch of the Shakas established its power in Upper Deccan. Okay, so this was how the 5 branches and their seats of power, that is in Afghanistan, Punjab, Mathura, Western India and Upper Deccan. This was how the Shakas were divided into 5 branches. The first Shaka king in India, If you see the king of the Shakas, the first Shaka king in India was Maues or Moga. Was the first Shaka king in India, Maues or Moga. He established power in Gandhara. His power was established in Gandhara. The first Shaka king, Maues or Moga's power was established in Gandhara, and he issued a number of coins. This king, he was known for issuing a number of coins, mostly copper. He issued mostly copper coins, and his rule extended on both sides of the Indus. So this was how the first Shaka ruler, Maues or Moga, established his power. The Shakas did not face any resistance from the rulers or people of India. So the Shakas were ruling in India. They did not face any effective resistance from the rulers and people of India. Although they established their rule in different part of the country, only those who ruled Western India held the power for a longer period of time. In Western India, they held the power for a longer period of time. Okay. So the Shakas, they established their rule in different part of country, but only those who ruled Western India held power for any considerable length of time. They benefited from, mainly benefited from seaborne trade. Okay. They mostly benefited from seaborne trade, especially in Gujarat, and issued numerous silver coins. There they issued numerous silver coins. They were benefited especially from the seaborne trade in Gujarat, and they issued a lot of silver coins there. Now if you see the most famous Shaka ruler in India was Rudradaman I. Rudradaman I was the most famous Shaka ruler in India. He ruled not only over Sindh, okay. His rule was not only over Sindh, but a substantial part of Gujarat, then Konkan, Narmada Valley, Malwa, Kathiawar, etc. This was his area where he ruled. So one of the most famous Shaka ruler in India was Rudradaman I, and he ruled not only over Sindh but also over substantial part of Gujarat, Konkan, Narmada Valley, Malwa, Kathiawar, etc. And he was a great lover of Sanskrit. Rudradaman I was a great lover of Sanskrit. So this was the most important Shaka ruler. Now we finished Indo-Greeks, Shakas. Next one we are going to learn about the Parthians. The Shaka domination northwest India was followed by that of Parthians. So the Parthians followed the Shakas. Okay, Indo-Greeks, then Shakas came, then followed by Parthians. In many ancient Indian Sanskrit texts, the two people together are mentioned as Shaka-Pahlavas. Okay, sometimes they were mentioned as Shaka-Pahlavas. In many Sanskrit texts, they are together mentioned like this, Shaka-Pahlavas. In fact, both of them ruled over India parallel for some time. Sometimes both of them, Shakas and Pahlavas, ruled parallel to one another. Okay, they ruled parallel to one another. Originally, the Parthians or Pahlavas, if you see originally, the Parthians or the Pahlavas, they lived in Iran. Okay, Parthians or Pahlavas, they lived in Iran, and from there they moved to India. From Iran they moved to India. In comparison to the Greeks and the Shakas, they occupied only a small portion of northwest India. They occupied only a very small portion of northwest India in the 1st century AD. And the most famous king, if you see, the most famous king of the Pahlavas, or Parthians, the most famous king was Gondophernes. Gondophernes was the most famous king, during whose reign Saint Thomas is said to have come to India to propagate Christianity. It was during his time that Saint Thomas, who came to India for the purpose of propagating Christianity. It was during the time of Gondophernes that Saint Thomas came to India for the propagation of Christianity. In course of time, the Parthians, like the Shakas, became an integral part of India, and later, in course of time, they also became a part of India. So that was about the Parthians. So the Parthians, they followed the Shakas, and together in some Sanskrit texts they were referred as Shaka-Pahlavas, and they ruled parallel to one another during some time. And originally the Parthians or the Pahlavas lived in Iran, and then they came to India. In comparison to Greeks and the Shakas, they occupied only a small portion of northwestern India. The most famous Parthian king was Gondophernes, and it was during his time that Saint Thomas is said to have come to India to propagate the religion of Christianity. In course of time, the Parthians, like the Shakas, became a part of India. So this was about the main Central Asian contact, that is Indo-Greeks, Shakas and the Parthians, Pahlavas, yeah. So we will just go through the points which we have studied till now. There were 5 branches of the Shakas with their seats of power in different parts of India and Afghanistan. One branch settled in Afghanistan, the second branch in Punjab with Taxila as its capital, the third branch settled in Mathura where it ruled for about 2 centuries, the fourth branch established its hold over western India where the Shakas continued to rule until the 4th century AD. The fifth branch of the Shakas established its power in Upper Deccan. The first Shaka king in India was Maues-Moga, who established the power in Gandhara. He issued a number of coins, mostly in copper and a few in silver. His rule extended on both sides of the Indus. The Shakas did not face any effective resistance from the rulers and the people of India. Although they established their rule in different parts of the country, only those who ruled in western India held power for a considerable length of time. They benefited from the sea-borne trade in Gujarat and issued numerous silver coins. The most famous Shaka ruler in India was Rudradaman I. He ruled not only over Sindh but also over a substantial part of Gujarat, Konkan, Narmada Valley, Malwa and Kathiawar. He was a great lover of Sanskrit. The Parthians, the Shaka domination in northwestern India was followed by that of Parthians. In many ancient Indian Sanskrit texts, the two people are together mentioned as Shaka-Pahlavas. In fact, both of them ruled over India in parallel for some time. Originally, the Parthians or the Pahlavas lived in Iran, from where they moved to India. In comparison to the Greeks and the Shakas, they occupied only a small portion of northwestern India in the 1st century AD. The most famous Parthian king was Gondophernes, during whose reign Saint Thomas is said to have come to India to propagate Christianity. In course of time, the Parthians, like the Shakas before them, became an integral part of Indian polity and society. So I hope you have understood all the points very clearly. In case of any doubts, you can ask in the comment section. And also, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Your likes and shares will be of a great encouragement for me to make more and more videos. So I hope to see you all soon in the coming video. Thank you for watching.